Hello you guys, and welcome to today's video. In today's video I really just want to talk about my experience dealing with vision loss. This is a video I didn't really think to make until recently because honestly I lived in such a place of denial for so long that it was like, me make a video on vision loss? Like, who lost vision? Not me. No, vision loss, can't relate, sorry. So it didn't really occur to me to make this video until recently, but as I've gotten a lot closer to the place of acceptance, it's become a lot easier to share my experience. And so that is what I want to do here today, I guess, as mentioned, denial is a big part of how I handled losing vision. So when thinking about how did I handle vision loss, bad. I did not handle it in the healthiest way. I would say that leaning more on the unhealthy coping mechanisms was definitely my strategy. Mental breakdowns was a big part of it. The mental health journey was very much impacted, and so I wouldn't say that I handled it well, but I don't think that you have to. And everybody's journey with vision loss is unique, and so I'm just here to talk about mine. So when I was 8 years old, I was diagnosed with glaucoma. I had experienced some vision loss in those early years of life, but I don't think it really impacted me because when I got diagnosed, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm visually impaired, I have glaucoma, but I was pretty young. It was just hard to fully comprehend and understand what all of that meant for me then and what it would mean for me 20 years down the road. I'm 28 now, or almost 28 now, so I'm coming up on 20 years since being diagnosed. And so when I was first diagnosed, my vision was pretty good still, so it was very easy for me to pass as sighted and use very minimal accommodations. I maybe had to get super close to things, or I maybe read slower than other people, but I could pretty much do most things without having to ask for help. And then it wasn't until my undergrad years in college that I experienced a significant amount of vision loss, where it kind of just flipped me closer into that, oh, okay, I knew I was visually impaired, but now am I actually gonna have to accept that I'm visually impaired, tell other people I'm visually impaired, accept help for being visually impaired? Because that's not really what I'm trying to do. That's not my vibe. Try to fake it till I make it, blend in. And so integrating just the idea of being blind into my self-concept took it's taking a very long time. I would say 20 years and counting, as it's still a work in progress for me. And so it's just the weirdest experience where I walk into the eye doctor, get my vision tested, can see logically that it tested significantly worse than it had prior to going in. I know vision isn't something that, in my case, it's not something that's gonna get better. It's one of those things that once you lose it, for right now where we're at, it's gone. And so you kind of walk out of that appointment knowing your whole reality, you kind of have to process, is different than you thought it was, and be oh, I really okay, so seeing my phone is actually this is gonna be a forever problem. This difficulty seeing is not gonna get better. And you can tough it out for a day, but toughing it out for months, years, it just wears on you. And that's, I think, where my mental health my burnout and things has become very cyclical, because I've been very resistant to accommodations and to accepting that I'm visually impaired. So but recently, I think, now that I am approaching 20 years, a lot of the limited beliefs that I had associated with what it would mean, I guess, if I accepted that as my reality. I thought, that if I was visually impaired, like I would miss out on things, like that it would disqualify me from things in life. It took a while for me to gain enough confidence to handle just the stigma of being visually impaired and, you know, dealing with my own insecurities and shame and all of that. Like, yeah, there's a lot of therapy that goes into all of that processing as well. You know, when it comes to handling vision loss, it's obviously a huge like mental health and like emotional side to it, and then obviously just the like physical component of having to accommodate your life around it, which has been, I've been very resistant to all of that up until recently, but as I've over the last couple of years began to, you know, be brave enough to accept a lot of those accommodations and believe in myself to be okay on my own doing these things, I've learned more often than not things are okay. Awkwardness is always going to be a part of the journey, unfortunately, but like people, again, more often than not are nice and willing to help. If anything, I think my biggest realization recently and why I wanted to make this video is that I've learned that, yeah, like losing vision, it's horrible. Like that's just always going to be true. It's like if I could gain my vision back, I would do that in a heartbeat. Like it's a very painful, horrible experience, and it also is my experience in owning that and finding the freedom and like the power in owning my own journey. And I think I realized like I'm not the only one going through this, and I want to make this video because I'm hoping that, you know, as it helps me to connect and relate to people who can understand what I'm going through, I want to be that for others. And there's a lot of like power, and there's a voice that I can find in this pain, and I'm finding a lot of empowerment in and leaning into that voice that this journey is giving me. And I think that has been my greatest like realization recently, and I'm feeling very inspired and very motivated to prioritize posting on this channel again. So you're going to be seeing like I've been saying that all year, but this time I like truly know I can prioritize it, because as I will mention as I vlog this week, I'm going into like my last week of work, and I've had a lot of things kind of come to a close in my life recently, so the time is there, the energy is there to make this a priority, and I'm very excited to do that. And so thank you guys so much for watching this video. If it resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a comment. Please let me know if you have experienced vision loss, like how has that journey been for you? If you have any questions, if there's anything I didn't address, please let me know. I'm happy to keep talking about this, but I just wanted to get out some of my initial thoughts, because this experience is not one I would wish on people, but there's a lot of beauty to be found in it. And so I just wanted to share my side of things, and I appreciate you guys for listening, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.